All right, let's look at 1.3, problem 35 from the textbook. All right, so let's just do defining g of f and its domain. All right, so let's find g of f for this these given functions. All right, so g of f of x. All right, so by definition, this is just the same thing as g of f of x. So f of x is the inside function. Alright, so this is same thing as, alright, g, let's work from inside out. So f of x is given right here. Alright, so I just put that in. So x plus 1 over x. Alright, then we have to look at the formula of g and replace x by x plus 1 over x. So this is going to be, alright, so I see x here, so I'm going to put x plus 1 over x, alright, then you have plus 1, so plus 1, alright, then I see x again, so I put x plus 1 over x. Right, then you have plus 2. Right, and you can probably leave it like that, but since to make it look a little bit better, I'll probably multiply everyone top and bottom by x so that I don't see a fraction inside a fraction. So I'm going to multiply top by x and a bottom by x. So you're going to get, right, x times x is x squared, right, and x times 1 over x cancel out 1, so since it's a constant, I'm going to put it right at the end, and x times 1 is x, so it's going to be plus x here, right. Then on the bottom you have x times x, you have x squared, and x times 1 over x, again plus 1 at the end, and x times 2 is 2x. Alright, and it looks like the bottom we can factor it out, so I'm going to go ahead and factor it out. So you're going to have say x plus 1 squared. Alright, then on top I think we can't really do much, so just copy that down. Alright, so this is the g of f of x. Alright, so let's find its domain. Alright, so first we have to find the domain of each one separately. So let's find that. So from here, domain of f would be, alright, this is actually fairly easy to find. You can see that here, since you have x on the bottom, so we don't want x to be 0. Alright, so x cannot be 0. So all real numbers except for 0. Alright, same deal for g. When x equals -2, this is going to be undefined. So, but all the other real numbers would be okay. So it's x cannot be equal to -2. Right, so all real numbers except for -2. Alright, remember that in order to find the domain of the composition, first thing we have to do is one, we have to make sure that the x is in the domain of the inside function, in this case f. Alright, because the inside function has to make sense first, and the 2, alright, inside function, which is f of x, has to be in the domain of outside function, in this case g. Alright, so here, so x has to be in the domain of f, which means that the all real numbers except for 0. Alright, so this gives us, alright, x cannot be 0. Alright, Then for the second one, all right, so f of x cannot be -2, all right, because f of x has to be in the domain. So which means that here, right, f of x, which is given to be x plus 1 over x, right, and we have to make sure that this guy is not equal to -2. All right, we have to solve this. All right, first thing I would do is I don't like fraction, so multiply through by x. So you have x squared plus 1 cannot be equal to -2x. All right, then I'm gonna, let's see, put everyone on the left. So by adding 2x, we have x squared plus 2x plus 1 cannot be equal to 0, right? Then factor it out. So you have x plus 1 squared cannot be equal to 0, right? Which means that you can see that we cannot have -1. So x is not equal to -1. Right, so we have to combine these two guys. So we found this condition right here, and also x cannot be -1, right? So which means that the domain of g of f is supposed to be, right, so you have to start from -infinity, right, go all the way to -1, right, but skip -1, go all the way to 0, skip 0, then finish it up all the way to infinity, right? So this is the domain of the composition g of f, right? One thing I want to mention is that all right, so in order to find this domain, do not look at just the final formula, because this is going to be misleading. Because if you look at the final formula, only bad x value in this case is x equals -1. So you're going to miss this not equal to 0 part. So make sure that you're going to have to you're going to look at the two conditions. Make sure that x is in the domain of the inside function, and then inside function has to be in the domain of the outside function. Then we can find the condition for the domain. All right, that's it. I hope that this was clear.